But I'm going to throw a question open to all the panelists here, and starting with Scott, you can go first because you spoke first, but it really is around what type of technologies and techniques do you see as being most important in some of these developments? Is it artificial intelligence? Is it data analytics? Is it technologies around encryption even that are important? So, and we'll go around the panel and just briefly.
I suppose for me, the thing I find most interesting is bringing together new data sets. So I'm always looking at what's coming next in the Internet of Things area around about devices that people may be using or apps people may be using to collect information or recording, I don't know, food intake and things like that, and bring that into the AI models that we're developing. So at the moment, we're getting to the stage where we've got sufficient numbers of people who are supplying us with blood glucose data, with their Fitbit data and other activity information, but there's so much other data out there potentially that we can bring in, and that's really where certainly one of our main focuses at the moment.
Thank you. Julia?
Yes,
well, jump to you first. I meant, doesn't really matter, Julia, Jessica.
Oh. Okay, I'll go first since I'm unmuted. So I think, well, there are lots of exciting technologies. What we see, well, at least in Germany, it's really not the solutions that can have an impact in patients' life and in healthcare professionals' life. Mostly, it's not rocket science. It's pretty basic. And what is really amazing is when a solution is just not a great technology, but it also fits the problem. And I think that is something that is finally getting better, because before there were sort of two worlds. There was the healthcare world and the world of the tech enthusiasts that would just throw solutions at healthcare, and that sometimes didn't really work properly.
Yes, we can talk about that one. Jessica, your commentary.
Yeah, I think we have so much technology already out there, and some of it, so much we can already harness in ways that we're not yet. In a way, we don't need the next new big thing. We just need to utilize what we've already got, and in a way that's integrated and makes sense and is paid for and people understand. So we've got so much work as it is. I don't know that there has to be a new technology suddenly in the forefront.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question. I know, Javier, I didn't get to you on that technology one, but I wanted to jump to one other question, and there is a chat going on, so I'm mindful of that as well. But it's a question regarding the community and how we work together. How does that happen? How do we make that happen better? In my introduction, I said that we're stronger as part of the community, and I do believe that strongly, and the networking is all important. But just a comment from the panelists about answering the question of how do we work better as a community.
Yeah, I agree with Jessica and Julia, and also with Scott regarding the last question, and I think it's related to this one. I think that we have to foster public and private collaboration. We have all the pieces, and what we have to do is to bring them together. We have to make use of the current technologies to get them integrated into electronic health record that makes necessary public and private collaboration, because EHA are on the public side of it in the majority of cases. And the technology is promoted mostly by private sector. So I think that we of course, new technologies are very welcome, artificial intelligence and data sets, as said. But I think that it's a matter of bringing this together in a public and private collaboration schemas. I think that there are enough room to win-to-win scenarios in human health, at least.
Scott, throw it over to you. You've had a lot of experience in the last 10 years of trying to sort of make this happen and working with many different communities, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I suppose it's interesting, having come from academia, that I've kind of got a bit of a different perspective. Running an SME is not is not what I've been used to for up until the last 2 or 3 years. So I mean, there's so many stakeholders involved that we find that we need to engage with all of them, from commissioners to healthcare professionals to patients. Right. And I think one group that's often underrepresented, and people do talk about co-production an awful lot, but actually involving patients in what you're delivering is a really key part of what we're doing, and we should never forget about that. I think a lot of the times, and I saw this when I started my career, and I still see it now, that clinicians design systems that they think people will like to use, but that doesn't work. So we need to make sure that and part of that community involves the people who are actually going to use the services.
I have to echo that point, and it's something that we talk about, and quite often the practitioners we're remiss to always forget. And I have to say, positively, within IBM, we invited some patient groups to speak to our people in the, our practitioners in healthcare and life sciences, to get that patient perspective, and then to ask them the question: what did they expect from us? What were they looking for, us to do? So that was, and it was insightful. It was very good. Julia, any final comments from you?
Well, I think there was so many good things said, so I'm having a hard time adding
That's
up
okay.
onto that. Just maybe, I think our main challenge in Germany, and on that I have a very German perspective, is that we need to, for this healthcare system, we need the right incentives for the different stakeholders to have no other choice than to work together. Because right now we see that just like budget limitations, or the fact that, well, if I do that, then that other person will know that and will benefit from that, and I did the work and she gets the money, and these kind of things. They're very complicated, and they harm a lot of, or they hinder a lot of the transparency and the connections that we could create with digital solutions.
Thank you, Julia. Jessica, if you want one final word.
Yeah, I would say, I also work for a hospital in Barcelona in respiratory health, and I think, we have an opportunity here because we did not do well with electronic patient records. Using the SAP at the hospital is a nightmare. Anyway, you all know this. So we now have, because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we have the opportunity to harness this welcoming of telemedicine and use it as a portal for digital health in general. And so products like what Scott's working with, and the DIGA in Germany, and all of the products that come through the hub with Javier, there's a way to pull this together in a logical way. And we really have to connect and discuss what's happening and involve more physicians on these kinds of panels to ensure that we're reaching everyone in a logical way. And hopefully by, this time next year or the next pandemic, have something in place that really works for people.
Jessica, thank you very much. I'm going to have to wrap it up. And I echo your comment. I made it at the very start as well, where we were, we used to be in the back end and trying to do the SAP and other, type solutions. And what really is a big observation over the last 12 months, or 10 months of this pandemic, is the front end push, the consumerification of healthcare. And that is having a huge impact on companies like us and people in the industry and what we're seeing. I thank all the panelists. Thank you very much. And in the background, Diane has been helping away and to manage things. Diane Whitehouse, thank you very much for helping us. I got to the top of the hour, probably a couple of minutes late. We've been a few minutes over. Mark, I'll hand it back to you and the team. But thank you all for participating. It's been really fascinating. It's been very interesting. Thank you.